Hello, friends. Welcome back. It's the Matt Murphy Radio Show, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Pleased to join you from Dixon, Tennessee this evening. Welcome in 7 minutes after 5 o'clock. For those of you just getting in your automobiles, out of your places of business, welcome to your weekend, and thank you for being with us on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We're out in Dixon for the Fight DMD event. We are playing golf for a cause, obviously. It's called Golf For, F-O-R-E. A Cure. Fighting Duchenne Foundation is the organization, and we're fighting Duchenne muscular dystrophy. Attempting to raise up to $500,000 for the Monroe Carroll Jr. Children's Hospital of Vanderbilt. And obviously, we've been talking about it throughout the course of the afternoon and evening. The disease is crippling by the age of 11 and 100% fatal, oftentimes by the early 20s. We just spoke to someone, very tender telephone call, saying that they had a family member who made it to the age of 32, I believe they said, which is one of the oldest ages with Duchenne muscular dystrophy. So we're thinking about that, and we invite you to stop by and say hello to us if you're out this way. We'll be here until 7 o'clock tonight. We are pleased to be joined right now on our telephone lines on the Murphy Show hotline by our good friend, Congressman Tim Burchett, who joins us to talk about activities happening in Washington, D.C. And, Congressman, always good to talk with you, and it was so good to see you a couple of weekends ago in Knoxville, Tennessee. What's going on, Tim? How are you?
I'm good, brother. I'm excellent, actually. Not a lot's going on in Washington, D.C. Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries are attempting to shut the government down over wanting to fund health care for illegals and for transgender surgery, which I equate to something close to demonic, if not demonic. And that's what they're going to shut the government down over. That is your Democrat Party today. It is like Reagan said, I didn't leave the Democrat Party, they left me.
So I'm hearing that they recognize what an awful look this is, and that Democrats in the Senate have kind of flip-flopped and are reversing course on this idea of a shutdown. Now, that might just be the rumor mill out of D.C. They previously voted to avoid the shutdown over the fear that there would be federal firings. I mean, is the latest that they're holding the line, or do you think that line is fracturing? Because Trump, our man Donald Trump kind of told him to go pound sand, it feels like.
Yeah, he did, and rightfully so. We don't need to give anymore. We're $36 trillion debt. That down, we don't need to spend any more money. Republicans spend too much as it is, but the Democrats are just crazy. I mean, they give a drunk sailor bad, they make a drunk sailor look like they're physically sound. But they're just they're out of control. The only thing I can think is on this is that their base is so far to the left, and they've lost everything else, and they're just about to sit this one out, what their polling shows. So they got to do something for their base, the far radical left Marxist type base that we're seeing come off our college campuses right now. And so they're going to stick to this for a little while, but they're going to have to start peeling off. All Schumer's worried about is re-election, and Hakeem Jeffries, he needs to worry about his role as the leader of the Democrat Party. So we'll see what happens, but they'll start getting beat up, and you'll see them pull off of this thing pretty quick, I think. But if they don't, we shut the government down. It's on them.
No, amen. I agree with you. Congressman Tim Burchett is with us. Congressman, I listened to for 4 years while, the Biden folks, not Biden himself, I don't think he knew what the heck he was doing, but their people and all the folks in the Department of Justice and Merrick Garland, they told us nobody's above the law. We heard from Letitia James, nobody's above the law. We heard from that knucklehead over in Georgia, nobody's above the law. And they went after Trump, and they lost, and they lost, and they keep losing. And now I don't hear from those people now that we are holding James Comey to account for some of the lies that he said in front of Congress. What do you make of all of this?
I think justice is due. I wish everybody would quit talking about it in elected office and just let it run its course, because it will. And I think there are others that are probably that are lawyering up right now, and they really should. They better get some good lawyers, because this is going to be some pretty extensive stuff. Comey lied about the Russiagate. That was all just propagated, and we spent 4 years just going after Trump, and that's all they did. They tried to bury Trump. And America spoke. They said we've had enough of this garbage, and put him back in. I just hope Congress gets it. We're sitting here with a 3-person lead in the Republican side. I think we better wake up and address Trump's agenda. We need to start passing some of these executive orders into law. I put over 20 of them in bill form and send them to committees, and I've yet to hear on any of them. So we got our work to do. We need to quit having hearings. We need to start passing some meaningful legislation.
Well, I agree with that wholeheartedly, Congressman. What do you hear is the holdup? I mean, we've heard all of this in the past, right? Oh, we have such a skinny majority. I mean, I think, the people of Tennessee are just, we have, as my grandpa used to say, a belly full of it. What do you hear back when you ask about the legislation that you put in the hopper codifying Trump's executive orders?
We don't have any guts. That's what I don't have to hear anything. I know exactly what it is. We've got these committees meeting. We've got these chairmen. And that's part of the problem you've got is that you got these huge staffs. And so many times we've seen that when a new chairman takes over, they're going to shake things up, and they think like you and I. But they end up, it's so vast that they end up keeping most of the same staff members. And frankly, that's the problem we've got in Congress. Is we've got committees with 50 staff members on the Republican side and 49 on the Democrat side. So it's just it's a quagmire, and we've got to clean it up, and we need somebody in there that'll do that. And the trouble with politics, though, everybody's just trying to keep their seat. Everybody's just trying to keep their position. They're trying to keep their spot in leadership. They don't want to give up the Suburban and the security detail and all the front row seats and never standing in line kind of stuff when they go into restaurants. And that's what they're used to. And and frankly, we just feed that because we keep sending the same people back to Washington. Again, when 12% of the population votes, that's what we get, and we got to do better. And we got to get our guts. I just tell people they need to be bold. They need to start standing up for what they believe. Charlie Kirk, the thing about him was he wasn't telling anything new. He was telling what was the norm in this country for over 200 years, and that is somehow we've allowed to change. And he went to college campuses because, frankly, that's where it's changed. The conservatives are so puffed up right now because we're firing a few people. But you know what we're doing? We're not firing the people that hired them. These HR departments, these presidents of these big colleges and universities that promote this garbage, it's like kudzu, man. You cut it off, and I hear all this stuff. I enjoy reading about kudzu for some reason, but they'll napalm it. They'll bring in goats. They'll do all this other stuff. But guess what? When they leave, it pops up in 5 more spots, and that's exactly what's going to happen with this. We're going to get all puffed up. Yeah, look at all this stuff we're doing. We're cleaning up, but we're not cleaning up anything. We're not changing the agenda. What in the world is somebody with a degree in lesbian studies going to do? We need to get back to educating kids to learn to get jobs in this country and in this state. And if we don't, I have a degree in education, and dadgum, I can remember we took so many theory classes and stuff, and I was talking to the educators from UT and some of the others, and Miss McMahon, the new commissioner of education for the country, and I said that. I said, all this stuff, it doesn't prepare you to teach, and I spent very little time in a real classroom teaching kids, and I did my student teaching, but that was, they just turn you loose, and you just become, they send you to an inner city school or someplace where a lot of dysfunction goes on. So we got some real problems. Sorry I went to preaching, but that's kind of my thing.
It's all good. I'm sitting here wondering if you do you know who Channing Cope is? Channing Cope. Look up Channing Cope. If you're doing deep dives into kudzu, okay. I did a deep dive into kudzu years ago. Channing Cope is responsible almost single-handedly for the kudzu problem because he championed kudzu. He was a columnist for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Yeah. Yeah. During
the Depression, they brought it in.
That's right.
And they thought cows would eat it, and it'll protect hillsides. The problem is it doesn't
stop
stay
soil
on the
erosion.
hillside, and the cows won't eat it.
That's exactly right. It wouldn't stay on the. That's exactly right. It wouldn't stay on the hillside, and the cows wouldn't eat it. And then, and here we go. You mentioned Charlie Kirk, and it reminds me of the situation that we've seen at TSA, the Tennessee State University, TSU, I should say, not TSA. And these young men, these fearless debate guys. I don't know if you've familiar with the story. They went to UT Knoxville. They had no trouble in UT Knoxville. They had no trouble at any of the campuses they were on. They get the boot at TSU, and you know what? It's one thing for TSU to declare, and I think they're wrong in doing it, that it was a disruption. It was not a disruption, as you and I both know. But then they lied about it. Tim, they claimed that all the students were respectful. We've seen the videos. The students were most certainly.
They were awful. I tweeted about that, and again, I said you got to get to the problem. And you got a college campus where 23% of the kids get a 4-year degree. That's pitiful. That is totally pitiful, and it's a horrible situation. They were disrespectful to those kids. They needed to be able. They could get on that campus, and they ought to be able to do that. And then you have the president of that university, the arrogance that she showed by saying that they were respectful, and they were just acting like a bunch of knuckleheads to those two kids. And if you'd have sent, I mean, let's just be honest. You just send 2 black kids to a University of Tennessee campus and they were treated like that, you'd have had a federal investigation. And you know what? You should. And we've got to see better leadership out of our minority community and quit endorsing this kind of activity, because that is not the activity. Those kids need to they need to be mad because they're not getting an education, is what they ought to be mad about.
Amen.
And not about this, because this is it's not a private institution. It's a state-funded school, and we've had problem with their leadership in the past, and you see it all over the country, and we've got to just pull back on all this stuff. The trades are where it's at right now, as far as I'm concerned. You want to become a lawyer? Yeah. You want to be a doctor or a banker or somebody like that? You need to go to school and learn that it's a trade, actually. But again, I'm just sick of this stuff. It's not the way civilized society is supposed to work, and that's not the way it works in Tennessee.
Well, and I feel like civilized society and our American values are under a literal and figurative fire right now. It didn't start with Charlie, but that brought it to the national discourse and to our attention. Then we saw what happened in Dallas. Yet still, you have some of your I call them your colleagues. I don't find them to be your peers, frankly, but I think they are your colleagues on the Democrat side, and they're still using the most awful language imaginable about immigration and customs enforcement. They're calling them slave patrols and Gestapo and these types of things.
Yeah.
I mean, they're truly testing the boundaries of free speech with what they say, especially considering how individuals, mentally deranged individuals on the left, are reacting to all of this.
I agree. When you mentioned something about the Holocaust or the Gestapo, that shows great disrespect for the 7 million people that were murdered. And I have a rule in my office. I have several rules in my office. But I said never compare anything to the Holocaust except the Holocaust. There is nothing to compare to that. Quit, and you just neutralize that. And my mom lost her oldest brother. He's from Cheatham County. His name was Roy Hicks. He died fighting the Nazis. And my mama cried every time they played the national anthem because she was thinking about her brother until the day she died. And so I just think these extremists that they have in the Democrat Party, you got to have some leadership in some of these groups that are going to call this down. And currently you don't have it because they are rudderless ship right now. The radical left is just out of control. They've got nothing. You've got Kamala Harris running around the country trying to rewrite history and, calling everything out. It's unbelievable. But the best friend the Democrat Party has right now is the Republican Party. We got to get in gear. We got to start making some changes. We got to start passing some meaningful legislation and doing some of the things we said we're going to do. I have no doubt we're going to keep the majority in the midterms. But I think one thing I hate in politics and in life and anything else is a missed opportunity. And we have an incredible opportunity to really put a real majority in there and start doing meaningful legislation. But we're not going to get it the way we're doing right now. We've got to take control. As I like to say, let's take that majority out for a stroll and see what we can do with it.
And I have several people asking this question on the Super Text line, Tim. I mean, is the obvious holdup, you've got some that have R's behind their names that get squishy when the chips are down? I mean, is that just the bottom line? Is it the House? Is it the Senate? Is it a combination of both?
I think it's human nature. I think what you better watch is the lobbyists, because they're not. I got on our conference the other day. I got kind of a yelling match with them on the whatever, how I can't remember, hundreds of millions of dollars we put in this latest bill that was funding for Ukraine. And they told me that it was the president requested it. And then I asked the White House, and they said, absolutely not. We did not request that money. And so, I think we've got, and people are voting by their portfolios. These war pimps at the Pentagon, they're itching to get into a war with Russia. And I frankly, even Russia's GDP is somewhere between Canada's and France's. I'm sure we would wipe them out. But at what cost? How much is this going to cost us? Why are we all of a sudden now turning in Congress? The Republicans are saying we need to get it. We need to start arming everybody around Russia. That's not our fight. Russia and Putin is no Hitler. He's just basically he's a third world thug, and he's a former KGB, and he controls Russia. But Russia is not the biggest enemy we've got in the world. We better start watching China. But we're not going to, because the K Street lobbyists are in bed with both parties, and ultimately that's who our master is, and we better start paying attention.
Man, you speaketh the truth, as always, Congressman Burchett. You know how much we appreciate you being on the show. I didn't know that you would be I am told that you might be in this neck of the woods. I'm in Dixon, Tennessee. I'm told that you might be around these parts at some point over the weekend.
Yes, sir, and we'll be eating at the local steakhouse, at the local Waffle House. So if you want to come by and buy my meal, you're more than welcome.
I'll buy you some hash browns. That's my.
No, I'm on a low sodium diet. I have to hold my breath when I walk by a Waffle House, and I can't eat.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second, Burchett. Hold on a second. I saw you 2 weeks ago, and you're about as big as my arm. I mean, what are you talking about, a low sodium diet?
It's called Meniere's disease. It's this thing in my inner ear. It's salt, and I don't know. They don't know what causes it. I don't know. I'm going to go.
I need to get you to get. Hey, in all seriousness, I need to get you together with my wife. Erica has Meniere's, and she's dealt with that for years. So I don't know if this is a relatively new thing, but she's been dealing with that for a long time. So maybe we can get you two together.
I would love that. Thank you, brother.
Hey, well, listen, safe travels. You know how much we appreciate you in Middle Tennessee. Thank you for what you're doing for all of Tennessee and for all of America, and Godspeed with you.
Thank you, bro. Let's take our country back. Thank y'all.
Amen. There's Congressman Tim Burchett, 25 after the hour. You're listening to Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Go. It is the Matt Murphy Radio Show. We continue. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We're in Dixon at Greystone Country Club. Come out and see us. We're here till 7 o'clock tonight. We'd love to see you. The sun is still up. The golf course looks beautiful. The hillsides are absolutely gorgeous. This is God's country out here in Dixon, and we would appreciate you stopping by and saying hello. We're here for the Fight DMD event. Go to fightdmd.com for more information on that. That's fightdmd.com. It's Duchenne muscular dystrophy, the most common form of muscular dystrophy. I got to get Mr. Terry over here before he gets out of here, because they're winding things down. Some of the scorecards are coming in. Y'all know how these scrambles go. If you're a part of a golf scramble, we're waiting on the 20 and 22 and 23 unders to come in. There's a lot of liars and cheaters on the golf course, and a lot of honest people.
And one of them is normally Matt Murphy.
And one of them is normally me, Matt Murphy. I never lie to that degree, but I'll tell you, there's a lot of good folks out here, and they're having a good time, and it is obviously for a wonderful cause. Hey, Jackson, I hear you there. How you doing, buddy?
I'm just peachy. How are you, buddy?
Peachy. That sounds good. I'm great. I'm fabulous. I got some pasta salad in my belly, and yes. I just had a cook. This was called the Southern Fix cookie. It had nuts and chocolate and, oh my goodness, I think there was some oatmeal in there. So good.
Gonna bring any back?
Yeah, I'll bring you back some. You're gonna be there about 9 o'clock,
and then just save it for Monday.
Oh, sure. I'll be happy to. Hey, you know who won Nincompoops yesterday, y'all?
It wasn't Matt Murphy.
It was not Matt Murphy. You know who else it wasn't?
It was not Ken Weaver.
Whatever. It was Ken. Weaver, you won yesterday. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Well, let's talk about it after we hit the music. It's time, ladies and germs, at 39 after the hour for Nincompoops in the news. Yeah, Weaver, you're the big winner.
All right.
As decided by this listening audience. Now, Ken Weaver, we all know, already starts in the lead because everybody likes Ken more than they like Jackson, and everybody likes Jackson and Ken more than they like me. But whatever.
I'm cool being second place in this arrangement.
That's fine. It's like we're playing a football game, and they give Matt Murphy negative 14 points to start the game.
It's like Ken is the Tennessee Volunteers. I am the Georgia Bulldogs, and Matt is the lowly Vanderbilt Commodores.
You know what? I don't think that's the insult this year that he used to be, buddy. I'll tell you what.
It's always an insult when I'm talking about Vanderbilt.
I cannot wait when Ken, can you not wait until Vanderbilt's like, let's say they're 9-2.
Yeah. Either that or undefeated.
And then Tennessee is 10-1 or 9-2, and they're meeting that. Where's the game this year, Jackson?
It's in Neyland Stadium.
Is it now? Mm-hmm. You're going to need that home cooking this year. Diego Pavia.
Here's the thing with the Vanderbilt surge. They lose a lot of steam by week 12. We saw that last year.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Where they just don't have that depth built up yet.
Okay. I mean, doubt these folks at your own peril there, Jackson.
I'm not doubting them. They're just not getting the dub in Neyland.
Well, if I had to put money on it, I'd put money on Big Orange. But I'm just saying, they're not the Vanderbilt of old. It's not the insult that it used to be. It's time for Nincompoops, and Ken Weaver gets to go first. Ken, your Nincompoop, sir.
All right, boys. Let's see. I can't even remember. Okay, this is out of Michigan, Monroe, Michigan. Man accused of throwing lit piece of fake dynamite at another man in a city park. A lit piece of what police later learned was fake dynamite was thrown Monday evening by one man toward another man's vehicle at a city park in Monroe, Michigan. The alleged altercation happened at Veterans Park on North Custer Road, which is along the River Raisin, just west of Telegraph Road. One man was later arrested. No one was injured, although the accused did pull a handgun on the victim. So Monroe police began investigating the following morning when the alleged victim returned to the park and saw the other man fishing. He called authorities shortly after 8 o'clock in the morning, related what had happened the previous night. The victim told police the other man had approached his van and threw a lit fake piece of dynamite onto the hood of his vehicle. In an instinctive reaction, the victim retrieved the fake dynamite and threw it back at the suspect, unsure of whether it was real or not.
Good.
After the item was thrown back, police said the suspect pulled a handgun and ordered the victim to freeze. The suspect then walked away and just went back to fishing. After arriving at the park Tuesday morning, police detained the 72-year-old man who was from the Monroe area. He had a loaded .45 and a loaded .22 found in his pants.
At least he was wearing pants.
Did he have any dynamite in his britches, Ken?
Well, you might have to ask his wife. The suspect has a valid concealed pistol license, so he was legal there. The suspect admitted to the events as described by the victim. He was arrested, taken to the Monroe County Jail. Police seeking charges on 2 counts of felonious assault and presenting a fake explosive device.
Good gracious. I don't know why, but when you said he told the guy to freeze.
Yeah, freeze.
You remember that scene in Raising Arizona? You ever see Raising Arizona?
Oh, yes.
When they try to rob the bank, they say, freeze, get on the floor. Yeah. And the guy said, well, which is it, little fella? You want me to freeze or you want me to get on the floor? Because if I freeze, I can't very well drop. And if I drop, I'm going to be in motion. Poor fella. I might try that. I might try the old fake dynamite trick. See how that works.
Well, I like how he pulled the gun on the guy, told him to freeze, and then just went back to fishing.
Yeah, that's right. Just I'll be done. Well, but that begs the question: do you think he has real dynamite when he fishes?
Yeah.
That's a great Jerry Clower.
Oh, yes.
Are you gonna talk? Or are you gonna fish? Jackson, who has no idea what we're talking about right now.
No, you guys have done this bit before, so I know exactly what you're talking about. We've played the movie clip on the show.
Yeah, well, not that. I'm talking about the Jerry Clower bit. You need to go.
Oh, no, that's from one of them old-timey picture shows we talked about at 3 o'clock.
Yeah, we'll get
Was
you.
he the opening act or the halftime performance?
Oh, boy. We're going to get you culturally educated at some point about Jerry Clower, but that's for a different day and a different show.
And for now, I'll just do my nincompoop.
Yeah, why don't you just do your nincompoop?
All right, San Antonio man arrested after throwing large rocks at cars near the Pearl, stripping naked on the freeway.
Dadgummit.
A 28-year-old man was arrested Thursday after allegedly throwing rocks and pieces of concrete at multiple vehicles near the Pearl. Police said Victor Gustavo Hernandez Jr. reportedly stood in the middle of Broadway under Interstate 35, hurling debris at passing cars, causing significant damage to 6 vehicles. Police said Hernandez began removing his clothing and even threw his shoes at police officers as he ran up the embankment onto the freeway. Officials eventually located Hernandez fully nude on the freeway and detained him. He was medically cleared at the scene by San Antonio Fire Department. During the arrest, Hernandez allegedly resisted transport and attempted to seize an officer's weapon. Hernandez was booked on charges of criminal mischief, attempting to take an officer's weapon, and evading arrest, as well as being a nincompoop. Authorities did not release information about any injuries to drivers or bystanders.
Well, that's good news. The end of the story had some good news to it. No injuries to bystanders.
This man is clearly not well.
He's,
Kim, look at this guy's mugshot. Come over here and look at this.
Yeah, that fella's not well.
Oh, really? Are y'all looking at a picture of him right now?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Is his dynamite fake or real or what?
He seems to be still nude in this mugshot.
Yeah, and he's smiling.
Uh-huh. Yeah, but it's not a picture of his dynamite, is it?
No, sir.
And he's got a really
that's
bad haircut.
Yeah.
Well, he probably did it himself, Jackson. You know how that goes.
I wonder if he was intoxicated.
Rule number 1 of life, don't try to cut your own hair.
No, sir. Well,
No.
I do. But
Well,
I just
that's
shave
a little different. Yeah, you hadn't when's the last time you cut that goatee, Ken?
1993.
Ooh, that was before I was born.
A long time. Speaking of dynamite and speaking of showing what God gave you, I have a story about a black mamba.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. Powell County, Kentucky. An EMS team in Kentucky is in a little bit of hot water after they treated a man who had been bitten by a mamba snake.
Goodness.
They treated him with anti-venom. James Harrison, the director of the Kentucky Reptile Zoo, was bitten by the highly venomous Jameson mamba while on the job in May. I don't know if the Jameson mamba is a black mamba, and I don't want to racially profile any mambas, so I don't know if there's multiple different types of mambas, so we're just going with the Jameson mamba. Harrison got the anti-venom he needed to live at the zoo, but then subsequently spent days recovering in the ICU. The first responders who helped administer the anti-venom are now in trouble. Hot water. Powell County Judge Executive Eddie Barnes said he and another EMS worker were called to help Harrison after he was bitten. Barnes says, quote, "I'll be honest with you, I think this is ridiculous." And I don't blame him. Barnes said that they first received direction from Harrison on what to do. Quote, "The victim told us that we needed to administer the anti-venom as soon as possible. If not, first stage was paralysis, the second stage respiratory arrest, and the third stage cardiac arrest. Then he said, if you don't do this, I'm going to die." Barnes said they were unable to reach their EMS director, but they spoke with medical staff at the Clark County Regional Medical Center in Kentucky. While they were waiting for a helicopter to take Harrison to a Kentucky hospital, they gave him the anti-venom. The decision is one that Harrison's wife is thankful for. Quote, every physician we've talked to about it, about the course of the bite, said that they were heroes. They did what they needed to be done to save him. So that's who I want working on me in an emergency. Well, the Kentucky Board of Emergency Medical Services thinks otherwise. Barnes said he later learned that their policy changed 2 years ago and that only wilderness paramedics are allowed to deliver anti-venom.
Weird.
If we had sat there and let him die, then we would have been morally and ethically responsible, and we could have been criminally charged with his death, said Barnes. Barnes, who has his paramedics license along with other EMS workers, they are arguing before this board as to why they should keep their licenses. So the bottom line is this. This stupid board is trying to take these people's licenses. These two EMS guys have their licenses on hold, suspended, and potentially revoked because they're not allowed to administer anti-venom.
Because they're not wilderness.
Because they're
paramedics.
not wilderness. That's exactly right. Big difference, Ken. Wilderness versus, I guess, urban paramedic.
Weird.
So
them city folk don't need to be getting in the anti-venom. Them city slickers need to stick to potholes and other naked highwaymen and don't need to be touching our anti-venom.
So I would suggest to you, men, that the Kentucky Board of Emergency Medical Services, they're a bunch of nincompoops. There you go. That's how we play Nincompoops in the News. It is 10 minutes until 6 o'clock. You get to vote for Ken Weaver if you want to.
Yeah,
I don't know that I
let Ken win.
I don't know that I recommend, but I think you vote for the Mamba story.
I like the guy throwing rocks naked.
Thank you, Ken.
Don't
Too
encourage
long
him, Ken.
I've been
The Jameson
persecuted.
Mamba. Just tell me that you're voting for Matt's Mamba
Matt's Mamba.
on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Vote early, vote often. We'll give you the tally coming up in just a couple of minutes. We'll continue with your telephone calls. Super Talk 99.7 WT. 99.7 WT in just a minute or two left in this hour, but do not go anywhere. Because we're about to have a great conversation with Terry Marlin, who is just the organizer of the Duchenne muscular dystrophy benefit that we've been a part of all afternoon long. We're very, very excited to get a chance to talk with Terry, for him to tell his story, to talk about what you are benefiting when you give to the wonderful organization. We invite you to go to fightdmd.com. FightDMD.com to find out more information. It is the 16th annual Golf for, and they spell for with an E. Get it? Get what they did there? Golf for a Cure, and this is the event that benefits the Monroe Carroll Jr. Children's Hospital at Vanderbilt. We're trying to find a cure for Duchenne muscular dystrophy, and I admit to y'all, you touch on some of these issues in our line of work. Often you talk to people with various causes, and this one I did not know a lot about. I did not know a lot about Duchenne muscular dystrophy. I did not know how it impacted families. I did not know that it was crippling by the age of 11, and in most cases it was fatal by the time that these young men primarily get into their early 20s. And so it is just an honor and a privilege to have been out here to enjoy the day, to fellowship with these folks who are golfing for this wonderful cause. And so we're going to get a chance to talk to Terry Marlin about that in just a moment. Jonah and Emery Marlin were diagnosed in 2009 with Duchenne muscular dystrophy, and I got a chance to meet Jonah earlier today.